both in the picture, yeah. Had this much of me out the picture.
We can go a little bit.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
Hello everybody, my name is Deon Fox. I'm here with Down the Foxhole. Hard hitting stuff that's gonna come at you every time you hear me talk. Not just about sports, it's about life, real life. Things that happen in the community, well-being, self-care, and the sports will be sprinkled on top. But you gotta be ready to come to the Foxhole, because if not, you might get lost. Down the Foxhole. ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM. Looking forward to you being empowered by Mike King Biz Radio.
Hey, how you doing today? Deon Fox here with my man Mike King Biz, ESPN Richmond 106.1. I talked to Mike today, and we were talking about some things and that's going on in both our lives. And the perfect subject today is mental health.
Mental health, yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about mental health and tell you about something that's coming up that I spoke with a panel of my fraternity brothers, the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. We talked about a day or two ago on a conference call, and just want to bring some awareness to mental health, man, because people don't really know what's going on with you until you get a chance to say something. And a lot of us hold stuff in. And mental health is so important. And a lot of us don't realize if we're depressed, upset, have anxiety or whatever, other people may not see it. You know, what's your take on it?
One thing, so we grew up with the time Man Up. And,
Exactly.
you would ask, whether it's sports, next man up, it's your turn. Go it out there. You'd ask a guy how he's doing. I'm good, man. We lived with that in the past. Now we're looking at, he got 3 flats and a rim, but he's telling you he's good. We didn't take time to pay attention to it. We're doing that more now. It's more accepted to get help, I think. But it's still that stigma that we don't want to talk about it because we don't want people to judge us as not being man enough. We're going to be perceived as weak. But we have to do, I came from the military, and every time you call a VA the military, like, are you having thoughts of doing something bad to yourself? Because that does happen.
Exactly. And the man up part, honestly, the man up part is manning up about your situation, about your mental health. Recognizing that you have something and you need to go talk to somebody about it. It doesn't have to be somebody in your family. You can go talk to a counselor. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. It just means that you want that help. It's no different than going to the doctor and getting checked out there. But a lot of us are hard-headed with going to the doctor when we have an ailment. We have to get out of this stigma of trying to man up to everything and say, I'll be okay, and then it's too late. Mental health resources are around everywhere. Some of the general mental health resources that we have is Mental Health America, National Council for Mental Health Wellbeing, National Empowerment Center, National Institute of Mental Health, and, Parents New Freedom Commission on Mental Health. There are a lot of resources out there for us to use and take advantage of. And most people don't understand that, as Mike said, when you have these thoughts of hurting yourself or hurting somebody else, or you just feel you don't belong, or you having that day. I go through days like that. And it took me a while to realize and recognize that I needed to make sure that I'm able to express myself and have an outlet. A lot of us don't have outlets, and those outlets at some point runs its course to where it no longer serves its purpose. So we need to find something else to help alleviate any type of anxiety or bad feelings or thoughts that we may have.
We're running out of time, so everybody's going 100 miles an hour. That's where we live in now. It's not like before we sit down and be still, the time we grew up with. And then something bad happens, and everybody's wondering, wow, how'd that happen? When you go back and look at it, there were signs along the way. But we're going to the point we didn't take advantage. We didn't look at the signs, and all of a sudden, something bad happened. We're here today. We're here today because something happened a week ago where there was a sign, a person wrote something, a person did something. When you look at a kid 14 years old, they got enough rage now to shoot up things. That's, you almost haven't lived long enough to develop that kind of rage. But it's happening right now. So we have to address the whole mental health aspect. Talk to somebody, like you said, the resources are there. But you gotta be willing to understand, and you need to have a crew, somebody who can be a support system. somebody could be like, yo, you know, what's up, man? You don't look right.
And somebody that you can trust, that when they give you that criticism,
You ain't
know,
taking it, yo.
yeah,
yes.
you're not taking it personal.
Because it could go that way.
It could go that way real quick.
Because we came from it going that way.
Yes.
We did come from, we don't have time for nervous breakdowns. Jobs got to get done. Bills got to get paid. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps, go into work. And then you wonder why things happen.
You know, we look at certain things that's happening in the world today. We look at certain things that's happening in our country. You know, let's say our country first and then the world. And you talk about kids getting mad and shooting up stuff. So I'm in education. I've been in education now. I'm going into my 18th year. I'm in my 18th year of education. And the thought of having to go into a lockdown because there's a threat of someone shooting up the school. And then I'm looking on the news where there have been kids in middle school and high school, and in some instances, elementary school, that are taking guns to school, taking knives to school, stabbing teachers, stabbing other students, shooting teachers, shooting students, or just shooting just all over. No real intended target, but just shooting, okay, to empty a clip. And that has a certain amount of mental stress that it puts on me and all the other teachers that are out here and educators that are out here, also the students and then the parents of the students, in which they feel that their school is a safe haven to send their children to get their education. So we have to make sure that we provide these resources for these untimely things that are taking place in our country and in our world right now.
It's a sad day when the kids are trained and know what to do in a situation like that. We know it happens so regular. The school has policies and things in place. We went to the school the other day. The only ways we were able to walk in pretty easily was the school's out and now it's a basketball game. Other than that, you got to have clear backpacks. I mean, the idea of that right there is we have to be able to see what's in your backpack. So, and the pressure that it puts on schools, the faculty, the staff, everyone, and then parents sending your kids to school. Do we let them have phones? Or do we have to lock up the phones? Bad stuff be happening. It's not like the old days where, you had something happen, you had to run out to a payphone, you got a phone in your pocket. But now how about something bad happen, your phone's locked up?
Not only that, the other piece with the phone, I understand that piece coming from a parent or grandparent that has a kid in school. But the other piece with the phone is that you have communication between one or two people in that same building, maybe from different neighborhoods, and then they have a beef going on and it stirs up. Then all of a sudden you have other people outside the building that's in the neighborhood that may travel up to the school. And, so there's a good and bad piece that comes with that as well, because now everything is too accessible with these phones and social media. We have a lot of stuff that goes on on the weekends in the neighborhoods that are beefs that are going on, and then they end up bringing it back to the building, on Monday and Tuesday.
I noticed that this is about mental health, but with all of that going on, how do we get the next generation of educators and people, education professionals? That's a lot right there. Back in the day, you don't want to sound like the old man, but when mom or grandma, somebody came to school, it did not work out good for the kid.
It did not.
It did not. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're from. When they had to come to school, or you get left back, it was traumatic when somebody got left back. You're done. But now, okay, it's another year, and that puts pressure on the kid. But how do we get the next generation to sign up to be educators? Because we got to talk about the mental health of those professionals.
There are a lot of instances where you have people that have the want to help. They have the want to help. Okay? And I emphasize that.
The want to want.
Yeah, the want to want. The need, the heart, the will. It takes a special person. And I now appreciate all of the teachers that I had, because I wasn't the easiest to deal with. However, I was not the worst to deal with either because I had the fear of mom coming up to the school.
It would not work out good.
Yeah, I wasn't scared of my dad. I was scared of my mother. Okay,
Who mom of that? That when
Yeah.
mom hit the school,
it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And nowadays you have the mom and grandma coming up to the school and they're taking up for the kid, and the kid is dead wrong. But they're taking up for the kid and placing blame on the faculty and the staff. Now, everybody has their reason, okay, for what they do. All I'm stating are things that I've actually experienced and seen, and then have had people tell me about that they have experienced and seen while in this profession. Okay, so I'm not placing blame on anyone. I'm not pointing the finger at anyone. What I'm stating is that in how our society now that we have to depend on the younger ones that we're trying to get ready to go into the community to be model citizens and, you know, critically think to be able to do the right things to help out their community to grow and prosper. We have to make sure that we keep them as best as we can on the right path. And what's happening, we're creating excuses for them to be okay with the mistakes that they're made.
are we talking about participation trophies?
I wasn't gonna
We ain't
go there.
gonna-
I wasn't gonna go there.
But
I mean that happens as well. But
in life,
in
not
life,
just in the sports. aspect.
but it's like, well, you know, they made a mistake, and the mistake could be a mistake that they know right from wrong, but we're validating the mistake by saying they're just a kid. No, because I knew at 14 years old that I didn't go to school, and if I got mad at a teacher, they was all types of B's and MFs and all that type of stuff. That didn't happen. That didn't come out my mouth. But now it's, well, they're just a kid. They don't know any better. They know better.
They know better.
They know better, you know, and that's a big strain and weight on the mental capacity for the teacher in that classroom, because you have teachers nowadays that have students that are my size. And I'm 6'4", 280 pounds.
Yeah, they
man child. You know what I'm saying? And they're very aggressive. And it may be from something that's going on somewhere else, okay, that we don't know about, because their child may be dealing with some type of mental stress or anguish, okay, or some type of anxiety that we need to calm them down. And then so that comes with the buy-in of them trusting us as the educator there to help them instead of being there against them. What you think about that?
I do. You know, this is your show.
Yeah.
And what's the name of it?
Down the Foxhole.
Okay, but you didn't know there's a therapy session. So as an educator, you see, we always had groups. You know, there were the athletes, and there were the nerds, and there were the band people, and all that. How do you protect now as educators, because everything's been amped up more? How do we protect the mental state, and work with the ones who are not the ones flexing around campus doing the things? How do we protect their mental state? Because it's not like back in the day where when you left the bullying, the foolishness of school and went home, it stopped. It doesn't stop anymore. How do we protect the mental state for young folks in situations like that when we're in a school setting?
Well, there are a lot of resources that are there. We have in-school counselors now, and they're all across the country, where we have certain groups in place, counselors in place. Then we have school counselors. We have social workers. We have these resources in place at the disposal of the children. Now, here's the thing. We have to realize and know which children may need or want these resources. We also are mandated reporters of the state. So if we see something that we think is happening that goes against any type of protocol or procedure or wellness factor for any kid, physical, mental, emotional, we must report it as soon as we see it to an authority in the building. So if you're a teacher, you see something, you need to report it, whether it's a faculty member, an adult, or whether it's a child. You must report it, because we are mandated reporters of the state. Once you take that job, you're a mandated reporter of the state.
I never heard that.
Yes, mandated reporters. And if you fail to report it, you can get in trouble for that, Because if it comes back that you knew about it, but you never did anything, you never told anybody, you never was there to try to circumvent the process of them going through what they're going through, trying to stop it and circumvent that to where you bring somebody else into it to help cancel out what the mental anguish is or the physical anguish is that you see or hear about. You hear a child say something or an adult say something like, I don't feel like being here anymore. I don't feel like. That's a red flag. So you ask the question about, well, are you okay? That's the first step. And then from there, you go ahead and you take the next step and say, hey, well, why don't you come with me so we can get you to talk to somebody so that about how you feel right now. Because they may not want to talk to their loved one. If they're an adult, they may not want to talk to their loved one. They may want to talk to somebody neutral that's just going to listen to them. If they're a child, they may not want to talk to their parent, but they'll talk to somebody in a safe space. And we provide that, or we try to, in the educational field, we try to provide that in all the schools. So flipping from in the school building, let's talk about straight to the adults now that we know they dealing with things in this country and in this world that's going on. You got stuff in this country. You have big events coming up in the next month that holds a lot of stress on people's shoulders, trying to decide what they're going to do and what they're not going to do, what they're going to pick and what they're not going to pick. And I'm speaking of it in this way because I do not want to have anyone think that I'm pushing an agenda to either side, okay? But everybody can read between the lines. But it does cause a lot of stress on what you're going to do and what choices that, we need to make for the betterment of our country and what's going on in the world that may affect us.
It's the consumption that I always tell people, America is like teenagers who have money. That's a bad thing. Because if you have time and no money, you really can't get into too much trouble. If you got money but no time, you really can't. Yeah, you got to keep working. If you have money and time, all you have to do is pick your friend. Yo, the weather's horrible here. Yo, let's go there. I'll meet you at the airport. Boom, let's go. And next thing you know, trouble and havoc can come from that. But we lived at a college campus. We lived at Penn State for 10 years, 2 blocks from campus. We saw the best and the brightest come from the rest of the world. And they come to America, they get overwhelmed. American success is a lot different than worldwide success. And what comes with that is the pressure too. It's the pressure to have. Adults have it. Worldwide circumstances have it. So we're able to see the haves. And that puts the pressure on everybody to get more. Mm-hmm. And with that comes the mental stress, the mental grind, all that. And sometimes you can't win with that because no matter what level that you're at, there's always another level. I heard people talk about how many people played, and you and Ox talked about this, how many people played high school football. They were good, really good. They go to the next level. The guys were really good. Those guys, they didn't make it. And then we're talking to professionals. I tell people there are way more brain surgeons, and everybody say, well, it's a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon. The 12th man on an NBA team was a star in a whole bunch of places. And now he can't sniff airtime because here he is there with the best of the best. What kind of pressure does that put on that person? Because he had to, and we can just look at the Olympics. Jason Tatum, star championship, gets the Olympics, can't get playing time. If you're not right mentally, what happens? So here we're talking about this, it is on adults. It is, we can see success around and the grind to get it. So you better start checking on each other, asking your guy, yo, are you okay? Because typically guys will just hold it in and man up, and they'll show the signs though.
I'm going to take this time right now. I'm a special thanks to some of my sponsors and supporters for 5756
Hold on, one
Foundation.
second. All right, so 1 second here. So we're gonna do special thanks. I
I want special thanks to Detail Law. Had their regional manager come down and donate to my food pantry at the school. Appreciate it. 5756 Foundation, appreciate you. Chase Bank, my man, Mr. Parker, Ricky Parker.
He's just a Mr. Parker.
Mr. Parker.
Mr. Parker.
Mr. Parker, he comes over, and for the last year and a half, he's been doing financial literacy for me at the building for my athletes to get them to understand what financial literacy is. That Cash App is not financial literacy.
No, Cash App. And the great part about him is he looks like them.
Yes.
So he's not looking like you. You know, he's a young man who's done well. He looks like, so they're not looking at, the old man is trying to tell us something. He knows, and he still is in that age bracket to have credibility to, without saying, the old guy was over here talking.
And like a young man of color, dresses well, grooms
the time.
himself. I mean, from head to toe, looks like he is about to walk
He
down
looks
the
like
runway.
a banker.
Yeah, he
looks like that.
Yeah, and he is a businessman, but he can relate to him. Adriana Duarte, we appreciate her coming through.
Shout out to Jersey.
She talks to my Latina and Latino athletes as well. She's an agent at Core Mortgage, and she comes over and explains to them about financial literacy as well. Anna Solden, I appreciate her with the donations. Brandon Mill Living, Swift Creek Living, and Powhatan Living. Those publications she owns those publications, but she's been a big supporter of 5756 and donator to the food pantry as well. Jeff McDonald, thank you, sir. Shout out to your law firm.
The big man?
The big man, yes. The big man. So met him, talked to him a couple times, and then next thing I know, he sends over 3 crates full of food, non-perishables and full of food for my food pantry. Thank you so much for it. Appreciate you. Jeff McDonald, hey, good guy. He's really for the community. I realized that with just a few conversations, because it's one thing to see it on TV. It's another thing to actually talk to the person face to face. Very good guy, comes from a good place, and appreciate it. Appreciate to all my sponsors and those who gave to 5756 and helped sponsor down the Foxhole as well. You're going to always get a shout out from me.
One of the things I always talk about from the business side, and this is what we do here is business. Business helps society be better. Those people, they see the good work that you're doing. I always say changing the world ain't cheap, easy, or free. Money got to change hands. Some people got to help, and those people will help you. And it's a cool thing. So it's always good knowing those kind of people. Like you see Jeff McDonald on TV, stopping people from bullying because he's a big guy. And all of a sudden you're saying, here he goes and helps us out. So kudos to those folks who are out there.
I also want to say this too. We had some things that's, like I said, is about to happen, and it could cause a lot of mental stress on you. My fraternity brothers and I were talking about it the other day, and we're thinking about trying to do a panel to ask questions on how people are going to deal with these things that are happening. We want to have a sit down, like a round table. Mm-hmm. We won't put together a couple questions and send them out there to see how people are dealing with everyday stresses, things that may be happening, things that may happen in about a month or two that could have a correlating effect later on down the line with how they're going to take care of their families, how they deal with them, and then what resources. And some of the resources here, here in Virginia, you have Virginia Peer Run Warm Line, 866-400-6428. We have a live RVA, 833-4-PEER, PEERVA, and the number is 473-3782. That's the 833-473-3782. Have Child Savers. We have Full Circle Grief Center, the Christ Atwood Foundation, Virginia Advanced Directives, Virginia Community Service Board Directory. All these are resources here locally in the state. I gave some national resources and I gave some in the state. If you have something going on and you feel like you're out of whack, out of sorts, you have to reach out and get these resources and use these resources. Let somebody know. And if somebody comes up to you because they see that you're not quite yourself, hey man, you all right? See, you look like you got something on your mind. Be receptive to that. And you don't have to tell all your business, but if somebody else sees it, then it may be time to go ahead and put yourself in a position to let that out and figure out what you're going to do to help put you back in whack, put you back online. I told you, down the Foxhole, we talk about everything. And when you come down the Foxhole, boy, you got to be ready.
Put your head on a swivel.
Both
It better
ways.
be.
Both ways.
You don't know what's coming.
You don't know, and this is very important. I'm going to talk about it again. This is just a prelude to what's coming in the next couple of weeks. But I Mike, I appreciate that because it was right on time when I walked in because we were both talking about some things that we were dealing with.
What I say, yo, man, you got $1? Because I'm gonna start playing the lottery. Trying because I'm hitting the lottery and I'm getting on that Chinese bus.
Taking the trip.
And you know what the thing is? They're not tracking you on that bus. And here you go. Here's the winnings from the lottery. But we're joking. But we do live in a stressful time. As you said, we're getting ready to come up to something that's serious, and people are gonna be one way or the other. Somebody ain't gonna be happy, and it's gonna put some pressure on people. Check on your loved ones. Check on yourself. Do the self-care. I always say, who takes care of the caregiver? Because they won't stop. They will not stop. And when you try and stop them, now we going some fisticuffs because they're going to think you're not concerned. If I stop this, who's going to? But you better go ahead and put your mask on first because if you don't have your mask on and pass out, you ain't helping nobody.
Exactly. And, I would just want to reiterate, look at yourself every day. Tell yourself, hey, I love you. I'm going to make it. It's going to be a good day. Start your day off with that affirmation. Sounds kind of corny, but believe it or not, it works. It helps, it works. And even on the days you don't feel like it. And it'll help you become better in tune with yourself. Not trying to sound corny, but hey, if I'm going to be a cornball today, I'll be a cornball in a good direction to help somebody. Because somebody listening to this, if I reach one person,
that's all it
Mike
takes.
reach one person.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
Because for you, it's like the whole pay it forward model. A person meets you. You change the course of somebody's life with just a regular.
Hey, how you doing today?
And boom, they looked at, wow, okay, because they were considering something and they were going through something, and all of a sudden you changed it for them. So
exactly. Well, Mike.
Good note, Downey Foxhole.
Exactly.
I'm always good. I try and climb out of it, but I'm an older man, so it's
sometimes
he
try to get up out of here. Sometimes the long arm reach up and just grab him.
Like the long arm of the law, you can't get away from it.
Can't get away from it, baby. Down here, got to get it done.
Down the Foxhole.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is.
Hello, everybody. My name is Deon Fox. I'm here with Down the Foxhole. Hard-hitting stuff that's gonna come at you every time you hear me talk. Not just about sports. It's about life, real life. Things that happen in the community, well-being, self-care, and the sports will be sprinkled on top. But you better be ready to come to the Foxhole, because if not, you might get lost. Down the Foxhole. ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM. Looking forward to you being there. Empowered by Mike King Biz Radio.
Thanks to everybody that listened. Look forward to you listening again.